So, hi Hannah, how are you today?
Good, Mel. How are you?
Good, I'm doing good. So last week we were talking about your dad and your relationship with him,
Yes.
and a little bit about your family life, and then we kind of briefly you told me about how your relationship with him you think is affecting or has affected your relationship with other men. Is that right?
Yes, that is correct. I feel like maybe not my relationship with other men, but the way I view other men. I feel like, especially in this day and age, there's many single fathers and single mothers, and I feel like when it comes to single parents, I only think of mothers, and I lean more towards that. I feel like when talking about a family, I don't even really discuss the role of a father, because maybe there's an underlying reason. Maybe it's because I felt like I didn't have my father around, and I didn't really have that part of the family. But I don't know. I'm not really sure. I think that I don't know how to word it. I just think that my relationship with him was so poor growing up, and he wasn't really present for things that kids do with fathers, play sports, such as that. He was always working. That I just feel like I stereotype other fathers and just see them as lazy or not doing much. And it's horrible, but I just feel like because of my own experience, that's just what I see or what I know.
Why do you think it's horrible that you see it that way?
Because I know, for instance, my cousin Charlotte, her father is awesome. He's always been a father figure to me my whole entire life. He's my uncle. He's actually my great uncle. He's a really cool guy. Always brought me to sports events, was my soccer coach, played a big part in my life, but was never my father. So when I see fathers and I talk about dads, I feel like there's nothing much to them. If somebody was to ask me about my uncle, I would be like, yeah, I have the best uncle. Uncles are awesome. Just because based on my own personal life, and I feel like it's horrible to see it like that, because my own personal experience doesn't depict or isn't a representation of all dads. Or do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got what you're saying. So almost you don't even see, though, what I'm hearing is you don't even really see, when you're saying, your uncle, awesome uncle or whatever, you don't see that as, a father figure in a way, do you? Or no, is what you're saying? You don't even see that, you just see it as an awesome uncle, not really, fatherly figure?
I feel like
Okay.
you're right there, but I just don't want to give him the title of father, because for me in my life, in my experience, it's always had a negative connotation. And I have a very, very close relationship with my mom. In some ways, I feel like that's affected my relationship with my dad, because they don't have a good relationship. We live together, but they're separated. So that's really interesting. That's an interesting dynamic in itself. But I feel like just always hearing so much negative about fathers and fathers and fathers made me kind of see a little bit of tunnel vision. Always feel like, oh no, dads are useless, or dads can't do this, or dads can't do that. And then, that's pretty much it.
Okay. So I'm going to kind of bring it back a little bit, because when we were talking, we kind of started off talking about how your relationship with him kind of affects your relationship now with men, or maybe in the past how it affected it with men, or still, like you said. So would you say what are some issues that you're facing with men, other men now, in relationships maybe, that are maybe hindering them, or something that relates to your relationship with your dad, what's kind of carrying over?
Well, I feel like I've never seen a good demonstration of a romantic relationship between two people, especially parents. within my family besides my aunt and uncle, but I feel like it definitely has affected my relationship with other men just because I don't really trust. I've never been in a serious relationship before. I think it's due to me not being able to trust other men. I don't know. I haven't really met somebody yet. I feel like I set these standards because I was just so disappointed with my dad and how he acted as a father that I set such high standards for other men when in relationships that realistically it could just never work out because my standards are set so high that, I mean, for another person to fulfill every single one would be crazy. And when they don't, which I think is a character flaw on my part, I feel like I just push them aside or dismiss them just because I'm like, why am I going to put so much time and effort in or engage into something that isn't going to work in the long run, or someone's not going to be putting the same effort, or it's not going to be not necessarily perfect, but what I want, because I've seen what I don't want, and I feel like I'm so set on what I don't want that I like kind of ruin things that I want sometimes.
Okay.
If that makes any sense.
No, it does. So I'm just wondering, how long was your longest relationship, would you say?
I've never been in a serious relationship.
Okay, so like never really anything like past like a few months?
Yeah.
Like 3
Yeah,
months or so?
just a couple months.
Okay. So do you feel like you said what you were saying is that you felt like you kind of had like this checklist almost in your head of just standards or things that you felt were important in the relationship or to you, and that since some of them maybe weren't met or like just something didn't sit right with you with them, and you just kind of had to feel like you had to end it.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I feel like more or less it is a checklist, but it's not I mean, people make mistakes. I'm only 19 years old, so 19-year-old boys or boys around that age that I'm talking to aren't going to be perfect or the most mature, but I feel like when I get into talking to someone or engage in a relationship with a guy, I feel like I start to, if they do one thing wrong, I take it up maybe a couple levels that it shouldn't be just because I'm so used to disappointment with men and just seeing the disappointment my mom has faced. I feel like that, and how strong my relationship is with her, I feel like that played a huge role into me not only not wanting to receive that disappointment, but seeing it in so many different circumstances that I can identify it. And even if it's just like somebody I'm with, like a guy makes like an honest mistake or says something, it affects me more than it should.